Alright folks, I'm just going to go over something that happened in daily event today on October 29th. I was in a mirror match, pseudo mirror, up against metal workers and staff domination, everything but the welders basically. And what happened is my opponent ran into the Metalworker Bug that I ran into 2 weeks ago. You may recall I was facing a mono blue control deck. I was staring down two propagandas, but I had a worm coil engine on the table and only an ancient tomb. So I had the ancient tomb and I had Metalworker, and I went to attack with the worm coil engine. And what happened was, when it came up asking for me, the moment where I had to pay for the little screen, play forward to continue, okay, cancel, and I tried to active Metalworker, it would tap it. It would give me the little trigger would pop up, reveal this many cards, but you couldn't actually select the cards to reveal them. And then so I tried to cancel. It undid my attack. I was unable to tap the Metalworker at that point in the phase because the Declaration of Attackers is a turn-based action and happens before anybody gets priority. And since I couldn't carry mana over from the beginning of the combat step, there was no way for me to pay for the cost of propaganda with the Metalworker. And I went about 3 turns not attacking, and finally top decked to land and was able to win the game. Well, what happened to my opponent today is that he found himself caught underneath a mana vault and thought that he couldn't pay for the mana vault. Um, as it turns out, I think he auto yielded the trigger because there was no reason that he couldn't have. Um, with the propaganda, it's just a turn-based action. There's no triggered event. There's no priority there. But when mana vault triggers at the beginning of the upkeep, there's a priority pass there. You have the ability to activate the Metalworker. And I think he might have auto-yielded it because he was telling me that he wasn't able to pay. So just to kind of show what the bug is, and I reported it 2 weeks ago, that Metalworker essentially is not acting like a mana ability. It's acting like an instant. It basically functions as Lion's Eye Diamond does. But Lion's Eye Diamond says that on the text of the card. Metalworker is supposed to be a mana ability, which means you can pay it in the mana abilities step of casting cards and activating abilities. Um, so it is a bug. I reported it. The first time I got a reply back saying that they couldn't issue a prize refund for a tournament where I got a prize. I guess I filed it wrong, so I refiled it, explained it more thoroughly. I got a reply saying that they confirmed the bug and it'll be fixed, maybe. So if I try to cast Worm Coil Engine, activate Metalworker, you see I get the little reveal blah 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 thing up there, but nothing's actually selectable here. This should work. That is a mana ability and should be available to cast at this point. This is the bug. So in order for me to cast Worm Coil Engine, I actually have to tap the Metalworker like you know before I do anything, reveal my cards, hit OK, and cast Metalwork or cast a Worm Coil. But that shouldn't have to work that way. That is the bug. So what happened to my opponent is he had a tapped mana vault and was low on life. So I'm pretty certain he auto yielded this because at this point I can tap and reveal and pay the cost. The trigger is still on the stack. I have 4 mana floating in my mana pool. I hit OK to the trigger. Now it says you may pay for to do this. OK. So it works with the trigger on the stack. So what happened to my opponent, I'm pretty certain, if we run through it again, say I ignore the trigger and now try to pay. I tap the Metalworker, that shows up. Do the pay for it to do this, and again, I can't select anything, and I have to cancel. So, not only that, my Metalworker is tapped, which is pretty awful too. So I end up taking the damage because I revealed 0 on the Metalworker. So what I'm pretty certain my opponent saw happen, because I do this all the time too. I set up the auto yields. Discard real quick. So here, I'll always yield to the Mana Vault and let it play through one turn. So it came up in his turn. No he didn't get the trigger there because he's auto yielding it, and now he's trying to reveal cards and he can't. So at this point, you have to hit F3 and catch it next turn. You can't get your Metalworker back, unfortunately. This is a pretty bad bug. So F3 like crazy. And when it comes back around, voila, we have the trigger on the stack. I could reveal 2 cards. Okay, and untap my Mana Vault. This is what happened. It is a bug. I told him I knew it was a bug. I didn't realize that what was happening to him was that he had set his auto yield. If it happens, if you happen to be playing Metalworker, you got to be careful. The Metalworker on Moto is not working as a mana ability, though it should. You have to use it when an instant is available. So you can untap your Mana Vault as long as you haven't auto yielded the trigger. But it won't work for paying mana costs to attack or to block or after selecting a spell. That's not working. In fact, I would venture to say, if I cast Staff of Domination and pass the turn, that again, I will be unable to select this to draw a card. That is the bug. It's wrong. It should be fixed. It's been reported. I reported it 2 weeks ago. I don't know how long it takes it to fix. Just know that at this point in Moto, Lion's Eye Metalworker functions identically to Lion's Eye Diamond as a mana source. It's wrong, but it does. What my opponent complained about today was avoidable. He had priority to activate the Metalworker if he hadn't auto yielded the trigger. A simple enough mistake. He argued that it cost him the game. We were it killed him, but we were in a pretty stalled board state at the time. He got pretty upset with me. Afterwards said that I should have conceded instead of winning to the bug. I felt the board state was stalled and wasn't going to concede. If I'm beating somebody or even with somebody, and I was up on life, we were similar boards. Just because they run into a bug doesn't mean I wasn't going to win the game anyway. But this is avoidable. It's unfortunate, but it does happen in my round 3 and game 1 or 2. I forget which. So Metalworker is bugged. There's ways to work around it for most things. And just wanted to put that out there and share that with everybody. All right, thanks. Bye.